Hello, and welcome to this video on using Ansible check mode to perform a dry run of your Ansible playbooks. Just a quick general overview of our working environment. I do have a virtual machine running Ubuntu in Microsoft Azure. And then just a quick overview of the playbook that we're going to be running check mode against. This is going to update the apt cache on this Ubuntu server, and then it's also going to install the Apache HTTP server and service. Lastly, it's going to make sure that the service is set to enabled. And the last file before we get into our dry run, just want to show you the credential file that I'm using. These are the variables for my Ansible user. Now we're ready to open up our terminal and run our dry run. So let's open up our Ansible control server connection. Here I am SSH'd into my Ansible server. I am also in my project directory. And then I'm going to type in and run our playbook. That is going to be the Ansible playbook command. The YAML file, I'm going to specify that. And then here's the important part. Since I am using an Ansible Vault encrypted string, I do need to ask for the Vault password to unencrypt that. And then the most important bit here is the -- check. That is going to be and signify our dry run mode. I'm also going to use a verbose flag so we can see some of that background information on how that check mode actually runs. Let's run it. Okay, and here because I am using the Vault pass, I have to pop that in real quick, and then the playbook begins. Things to keep in mind, we're going to see here, it is going to gather facts, so that is not something that gets ignored when you run a dry run, as well as this ping command that I've instructed it to run, that is still also going to run even though we are in check mode. Be aware that some modules will still run while you're in this dry run mode. They're just not going to make any changes to the system. With our dry run now completed, we can review the output. Right here it is saying in the recap that everything came back okay. So the syntax, the tasks that we've configured and coded have all been successful. One of the key verbose outputs I want you to pay attention to here is under the Start and Enable Apache 2 Service section. It does state that the Apache 2 service was not found on the host, but it would assume it is on the full run. So it knows that it's running in a check mode, and it's not going to make that change because it is in that check or dry run state. And just to showcase how powerful and repeatable this is by running dry runs while you're creating your code, we're going to run this again. So here I've cleared our screen, we're going to run the command again, also in check mode, put in my Vault password. And the nice part here is we're going to get the exact same output every time because we are not making changes to the system. We are just validating that the playbook that we're running would do what we expect. And here at the conclusion of our second dry run, we can see that the output is identical to what we saw before. So there were no changes made to our destination system. This is exactly what we want out of our dry mode because we're checking, did our playbook get coded correctly? And just in conclusion here, as we've run our dry mode successfully, the code is going to execute as we expect. Let's remove that check flag and no longer do a dry run. We're going to actually follow through with our playbook as if it was going to make changes to our destination system. Takes a couple of minutes here, but we will see that the output does change now that we've run this. Here at the end of our non-dry run completing, we can see that there were changes made to the system, namely we did install that Apache 2 service, and that everything did still come back okay otherwise. And here I've cleared my console. We're going to run one more time just to show what happens when we run the playbook after it's already made the changes, but we're going to run the playbook again. I want to make sure that nothing's changed on that endpoint system, so we should see that everything comes back okay with 0 changes this time because nothing has been modified from the state that we expect. And that's exactly what we see here. So it's similar to a dry run because we're going to check that final configuration against what our playbook should have. I hope that this video has shown you the value of running a dry mode of your Ansible playbooks before you push that code to production. Thank you.